Hello everybody and welcome to Retro Ratchet. So in this video you're going to find out what my latest addition to the Retro Ratchet fleet is. Can anybody guess by the view in the camera there? I'll give you another clue. Let's see if this gives it away. Very, very unusual. That's actually the warning tone when you leave the lights on when you open the door. So yeah, a bonus point to anybody who can figure out what that is. I guess it'd have to be somebody that has owned one of these. So let's take a wee look outside and I'll reveal what the car is. Right, so one thing I want you guys to do before we get into the reveal is put in the comments what you think I should do with this car. Keep it totally standard and restore it, keep it totally standard and just drive it, or should we maybe modify it a little bit, put some nice alloys on it, lower it, a spoiler. Let me know in the comments. I want to see what you think. Okay guys, are you ready for it? Let's walk a wee bit further away so you can see what it is. Have you guessed yet? It is of course a Nissan Bluebird, but it's a poverty spec one and not a turbo. So the obvious question you are going to be asking yourselves is why? Why has he bought one of these? Well, this is one of the dilemmas that you face when you have a YouTube channel. You drive lots and lots of cars, you review lots and lots of cars, and then you think, let's have a wee look on eBay, see how much they're actually selling for, see if there's any in the local area. So I recently done the video on the Nissan Bluebird ZX Turbo. Now that's what got me into actually looking at these in a little bit more detail, and lo and behold, one came up very, very locally. Yeah, it wasn't a turbo, but there is some attraction to these poverty spec models. They seem to be very well preserved. So let's give you a wee walk around this one so you can take a closer look. And here she is, a stunning 1987, don't know if stunning's a word, D-plate 1.6 LX Bluebird, and it is very blue as well. But what do we think? So on the face of it, it looks to be pretty original and in decent condition. So we'll take a wee close up here around the bodywork. So this is probably its worst area here, this front near side wing. You can see a wee bit blistering just appearing around it there, but nothing terminal really now. One of the things about this car, see when you look around here, it is very, very solid. Yeah, it's obviously not a show car, but I think it's very, very respectable considering it hasn't even been restored. Let's take a wee closer look at these arches. So again, we do have arches, they're all there. We even got the original hubcaps on those tiny 14-inch wheels. Got all this chrome work around here, around the windows. We've even got set of mud flaps still on it from the original dealer, Oates of Willingham. Right, let's take a wee look round the back. Blue efficiency, as in Mercedes. That was a joke by the previous owner. Right, here's a view from the rear. Yeah, so we do have a tow bar, so that tow bar will be getting removed. I'm not a fan of these. As per the 460, that was the first thing that I got rid of. Tiny wee single P-shooter exhaust there. And yeah, Nissan Bluebird 1.6 LX Saloon, and I've left the key in it. Let's take that out. We do come with lots of little extras, blanket and teddies, and then Oates Garage Wellington. So original Nissan supply and dealer, I guess. Interesting little styling features, these little vents here on the rear quarter. And driver's side, pretty decent condition as well, looking down it. Have a good arch there. Again, it's not crumbling. We do have sills. We have a wee bit of corrosion there. A self-tapper's been put through. Front arch on this one is better than the other side. And then we have a Michelin Man in there as well. Let's have a look down here. Number plate's a wee bit off centre, but I'm sure we can get that sorted. Bumpers on these, they do look like they have had some paint in the past, which is starting to flake. They're a wee bit untidy when you get very, very close to them, but that's really not a deal breaker. I'm going to show you guys inside now. The inside is very, very original, and that was one of the things I liked most about this car when I viewed it. Have a look at those seats. Yeah, they do need a wee bit of a clean, but you know, there is no damage on them. Very, very original. He says no damage, but there is a wee bit down there, but we'll not worry about that. Very, very blue. Does this remind you of anything? Audi A4 V6? Yeah, that was very blue inside, but we don't have leather in this one. Let's look in the centre here. Now the car is exactly as I got it. I haven't done anything to it. This is the first chance I've had to actually get some content on it. So I'll be putting together a list of ideas what I'm going to do with it. I'll see what you think. Nice big thick blue mats in there. Let's check out that dashboard. So this is a poverty spec car, remember it's an LX. I think you did get an LS which is even lower spec than this one. But we've got a rev counter in there, a few interesting features, got a couple of trip computers there. Obviously one's long term, one's short term. So that's interesting, obviously fuel gauge and temperature gauge over there. And I love the colour of the icons on these dials. Now let's move down here, what have we got? Hazard warning light, fog light. And this one is definitely an instrument dimmer, so I haven't got that one wrong. Cigarette lighter. What I never noticed is you've actually got a little panel of warning lights hidden down there. Washer fluid level. I don't know what the other ones are yet. I'm sure we will find out. Another little interesting feature here. Intermittent control for the front wipers. See that little blue band? That's pretty neat. Off, intermittent, low and high. And these are at the other side in this car. And then around here you've got your heated rear window switch. And you've got electric mirrors. But we do not have electric windows. We do have a sunroof up here, but it is a manual one and it's not a sliding one, it's just a tilting one. Then moving around into the centre. Certainly no air conditioning or climate control. You've just got a basic fan here with your heater and your recirculate. That is probably for the tow bar, and if it is, it will be getting removed. Aftermarket CD player, not really sure what to do with that. Ashtray in there, and then obviously your gears down there. There's no extra switches here with this being a poverty spec model. Glove box over there. Much the same story in the back. It's in really, really nice condition, I think. Very, very original. I mean, this thing has been well cared for. Let's take a wee look at these carpets. So the carpets are mint, they've been protected well. The seats again, they are mint, lots of memorabilia. You know, this has been a well-loved car. The previous owner had this one for 15 years. So yeah, they must have liked it to hang on to it for that long. I'm just looking at the back of the seats here. You've got this little chrome bezel around here and some stowage there for your maps when you used to use them. So all in, it's a tidy old thing. Now let's take a wee look in the boot. Not of course that there is anything exciting in here, but it is quite big. Got all my camera equipment in there and then other stuff that I need to clear out. So yeah, it's pretty deep and definitely very practical as a family car. Right, let's take a wee look under the bonnet. Now I'm expecting to see a very reliable Japanese engine under here. See if we can get this bonnet up with one hand. And here we go, guys. A CA16S. Don't bother putting in the comments if that's wrong. It sounds right to me. It's a 1.6. Right, let's take a very close look here. Overall, it's actually very solid. And this car was wax oiled, I believe, or had some form of rust treatment earlier on in its life, which is what all this is, and it was cleaned back there. We've also got signs of overspray around there, and the same on that coolant reservoir. And moving around the front, and then around this side, same. Wee bit overspray, 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 solid strut towers, and your bulkhead doesn't look too bad. Got a nasty car alarm in there. That'll be one of the first things that also gets removed, so we don't run into any bother with that, because I don't think anybody will want to be stealing the poor old Bluebird. Now engine wise, it's recently had a cam belt fitted. You can see wee marks there where the bolts have also been torqued up and tightened. There's a fan belt in there. Now things I plan to do, I've got everything I need to give it a good old service. So we'll take it from there after the service and see how we get on. But yeah, these things should be reliable. You know, these things lasted for hundreds of thousands of miles. Now in terms of the engine bay, I do want to tidy it up a little bit. Obviously not go to town too much, but see this kind of stuff, overspray. Let's get rid of that. See all these are just screws that have rusted. They make things look a lot worse. The same up here. If you replace these screws, take all that wax oil off, you know, clean that all up, it will reveal a very solid car underneath. Same at this side. So I think there's a lot of easy things that can be done. Same with this, get this all cleaned up. get that painted, figure out what's going on with this heat shield. I'm not going to touch it now because it is red hot. Cam cover, yeah, just it needs a whole load of little things just to tidy. It's all the peripheral things rather than the car itself. But there is tons of space to work under here, as you can see, which is good. But hopefully we shouldn't be spending too much time under the bonnet. This one, we should just be getting out and using it like it's intended. What's your experience of the 1.6 in these Bluebirds? Bulletproof or a bit of a pain? Right, do you want to hear how it sounds? It is only 1.6, so it's not that exciting. There we have it. What a beast. Are you impressed? I hope so. I'm mega impressed. Right, are you ready for it? Are you ready for the test drive? Right, let's see how it goes. Starts on the button, as you would hope from a Japanese car. Fingers crossed I've no but a dud one, of course. Right, let's get started. What's my first impressions? Well, I think it's a very, very well screwed together car. So all these switches, they're all like new in their operation. Heater controls, everything. There's no kind of like playing them whatsoever or wear. And even these, you know, the instrument stocks, wipers, indicators, that type of thing, everything still feels like new, despite the fact this car has 91,000 miles on the clock. And even looking at the trim, the fit and finish, it does look a good step up from a lot of the things that were available at this point in time. Everything, as you can see, is still in really, really good condition. So I find it a very comfortable car. The seats are very well sprung. They cushion all the lumps and bumps in the roads. I don't know how supportive they'd be over a long distance, but this one is fitted with lumbar support on the driver's seat. So that is pretty decent for a car in the mid to late 80s. Now I do need to get used to the indicator being on the right hand side rather than the left, which I am used to. Now 1.6, 86 brake horsepower from the factory, so it's never going to be startling performance in a car this size. Revs free enough, opens up a wee bit as you increase the revs. So yeah, they definitely like to be revved, these. I think they're certainly not torque monsters. So no ABS braking, as you would imagine. The brakes bite right at the top of this one. The gears are interesting. There again is no play on this gear mechanism whatsoever. Quite a long throw. And what I'm finding with this one is it isn't self-centering when you go from second to third. So you just need to be a wee bit canny with these gear changes, certainly till I get used to it. But yeah, there's certainly no crunches, and it is interesting. It just feels reasonably unworn for such an old car. The clutch is quite firm on this one. Bites halfway up, but the bite point comes in quite quick, if that makes sense. So you're letting the clutch up and then bang, all of a sudden you are off. So that is definitely taking a wee bit of getting used to. Steering is mega light. There's no feedback whatsoever from those front wheels until it's too late and you're going into understeer. So I'll need to definitely be careful with that. Obviously wallows through bends, as you would imagine. Floats about quite a bit, but that all adds to the character. Now, we're not going to do any 0 to 60s or any of those type of things today. I've got a few wee jobs to do to the car as it stands. So we've got to service it. There's a little bit of hesitation when you actually floor it, so I don't know if it's a carburation issue or ignition related. So what we'll start off with is a full and complete service to rule out the ignition system, and then worst comes to the worst, I'll get that carb stripped and see if we can get it running spot on. But yeah, it's not bad. It started on the button from cold. This one has an auto choke. I was just checking there. I was getting that right. So I was impressed with that. It's very, very quiet in operation. Very, very smooth. They just seem like a very practical, functional family car. So yeah, hopefully this one is going to be very reliable. Another wee job, the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed, temperature gauge. It's sitting just above cold, so let's drop a thermostat in that and see if that resolves the problem. It might make it run a wee bit better as well, as it possibly just is running cold all the time. I'm assuming that thermostat housing, I haven't had a look at it at all, assuming there's no C's bolts or anything like that that's going to cause me major heartache. Do a wee second gear from 20. There was a hill helping me there, mind. So if you're into Nissan Bluebirds, or 80s Japanese cars for that matter, please try and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be lots of content coming out on this one. So I hope you've all found this enjoyable, and stay tuned for the next thrilling episode on the Bluebird.